This little girl begged for a golden doodle for a year. Finally, her father gave in.
So I decided, okay, let me just look for a pet store in town.
But when he looked,
there are pet stores, but none that sell puppies. And I was like, that's just weird.
Mike, being president of Stossel TV, decided to investigate. Turns out in these states, pet stores are not allowed to sell dogs.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill.
Animal activists got politicians to ban sales because...
The truth about that pet store puppy, most of them come from puppy mills. Horrible conditions, suffering. Call your state legislators and tell them, protect pets.
People did call.
Sign no bill!
Some staged protests.
Pet store sells puppy mill puppies!
Politicians responded.
New York State is banning the retail sales of pets in an effort to crack down on abusers and puppy mills.
But how often does banning things solve a problem? Here there are two problems: puppy mills that sell sick and mistreated dogs, and pet shelters overflowing with abandoned dogs.
We need people to adopt.
So why didn't Mike adopt a dog?
We wanted a golden doodle, and there were no golden doodles available.
Online, he found lots of breeders, but
every site says this is the best breeder. These are ethically sourced. They're treated well.
How does one know if what they claim is true?
The dumb thing about it all is you don't trust pet stores because they're going to be bad. But I'm supposed to be able to figure out from a website that the breeder is great.
The nice thing about smaller retailers are these are experts in the area.
Alyssa Miller-Hurley lobbies for pet stores and says most don't sell abused puppy mill puppies.
Business owners know that you can't survive if you're providing a bad product.
If Mike had bought an unhealthy dog from a local pet store, he might have had more options.
If it had been a pet store in my town, of course I would have gone there and been like, hey, dude, why'd you sell me a bad dog? And I tell all my friends, this pet store sells bad dogs. Don't go there. That pet store is going to close.
Just because they're still in business doesn't mean they're operating humanely or ethically.
Brian Hackett lobbies for a humane society.
No amount of regulation can correct the inherent flaws in this process. No matter how well we try to regulate it.
Just ban all sales.
That is the only solution.
Pass more laws. Ban this, ban that.
Every pet store ordinance or legislation I've ever worked on has had overwhelming support from pro-business Republicans and the left liberals.
The politicians like it, but what about the poor businessman who's run a pet store for 20 years?
The government is taking my business from me.
Shops are already closing down for good.
After California passed your law, 95% of the stores impacted by the ban closed.
Those stores could have easily transitioned to a different business model the way that so many others do.
95% closed doesn't sound like they could have easily transferred to anything.
They don't have to sell puppies.
They don't have to sell puppies? When I was a kid, pet stores were where we learned about animals and where I got my first pet. But today, humane societies say pet stores must stop selling dogs, cats, and rabbits. Chains like PetSmart and Petco survived doing just that. But many pet stores have relied on selling dogs and cats. After all, they're pet stores.
Pet stores that sell puppies to consumers present a tremendous challenge and problem to our society.
Miller-Hurley says that's just not true.
The animals coming from pet stores get veterinary checkups regularly. They get veterinary care regularly, and they get people...
How do you know?
Because it's standard operating procedure within the industry. They send inspectors out to these breeding facilities to make sure that they're checking on everything from animal welfare to paperwork to what the facilities look like. The activists will often call any large-scale breeding operation a puppy mill. I've been to some of these breeding facilities, and these dogs have incredible lives, and they're getting incredible care.
This is what she says those facilities look like. Clean. People care for the dogs, and the animals look happy. It's very different from the pictures of puppy mills the activists show.
It's very easy to put up a picture of an animal that looks like it's sad and say, look, this is how it's being treated so terribly.
You're winning. You're getting these places to ban the pet stores.
We're making tremendous progress, but there's still wide gaps.
But so far, the closing of pet stores hasn't done much to reduce puppy abuse.
A decade ago, they said there were over 10,000 puppy mills within the United States. Since then, 8 states and hundreds of localities have been able to pass these retail sales bans.
The result? They still say there are 10,000 mills. The number hasn't budged.
By their own measurements, these bans aren't successful. What they are very successful at is fundraising. They aren't actually actively engaged in any real animal care.
They aren't? I thought they ran the animal shelters. But no. Researching this video, I learned that they and the ASPCA only give a small percentage of their money to shelters, and they collect much more. The ASPCA's CEO pays himself more than $1 million a year.
I decided to leave the ASPCA.
The former CEO left because the ASPCA spent only 2% of your money on shelters. He went to work for Miller-Hurley's organization.
Nobody gets into this business because they don't like animals. We're all in it because we love animals and we want what's best for them.
There's already laws against animal abuse, animal neglect. Enforce that. Don't pass new ones.
Banning things that lots of people want rarely works. Bans on alcohol and drugs created new problems. Now, pet store bans are creating new problems. After California passed its ban, puppy scams surged.
It is not up to the government to tell people where they can get their animal and decide for someone what kind of animal that they want.
But state by state, that's what politicians do. This is Comet. She thanks you for watching and says to make sure you get our next videos, subscribe and hit the notification bell.